And it looks like interpretation may be working. So let's see. Here we go. All right, perfect. So first off, just the lay of the land, where we're at. In 30 years in network marketing, I've been fortunate to have been through a couple different, handful of different companies that have gone through momentum. And it is definitely one of those things that is extremely exciting. And where we are right now, obviously, we launched the company in December. We're in that formulation phase. And, these are the four phases of growth that all network marketing companies go through. In the beginning, it's new, there's some doubt, there's very little belief. You don't have anyone making $1 million a year. You got a few of us that are, maybe making a few 100,000 a year, but no one's making millions yet, right? And you don't have a lot of people who are making hundreds of thousands a year. And so there's doubt in the beginning because people, the average person who doesn't have vision, who can't, see where we're really headed, which is the majority of the population out there, they're going to have some doubt. They're not going to be as committed when they join because it's like, this is new. I'm not sure. The key, obviously, in that formulation phase is all of us having the vision, knowing that we're going to go through these phases, knowing that we're going to go through concentration, momentum, and stability, right? And so that's where we're at right now. And over the next year, we'll move into what we call the concentration phase. Maybe, hopefully, that'll be the next 3 to 6 months. The concentration phase is really what I call concentration of leadership. This is where you've really established some of the core leadership in the company. You've got a bunch of diamonds, you got a bunch of blue diamonds, a handful of red diamonds, you got a handful of purple diamonds, maybe 2 or 3 black diamonds. You got the overwhelming proof is starting, right? And that's when belief really starts to build. And it gets to the point where in so many different markets around the world, you have undeniable proof that it works. And then what happens is you kick into that momentum phase. The momentum phase is overwhelming proof, overwhelming belief. It's when the, Zooms, instead of having like 150 to 200 people on a Zoom presentation, we have 1,000 people on a Zoom presentation. And someone comes on and they see 1,000 other people and they're like, oh my God, this is taking off like crazy. Training sessions, instead of 80 people, there's going to be, hundreds, 800 people on a training session, right? And this is where what happened, there's a couple things that happen. It's just fascinating. Number one is you have a higher percentage of people enroll, right? So your enrollment ratio goes from maybe 10 or 20% to 30 to 40%, right? You have such a higher percentage enrollment rate. And sometimes people who are in the formulation and concentration phase, they go, oh, I'm going to wait to join when we're in, or I'm going to wait to take action when we're in momentum. The challenge with that is you lose market share. All the leaders, all the visionaries and who get started in formulation and concentration, they capture your market share. So when momentum kicks in, if you're waiting, you have to start from a dead stop in momentum. And those who build in formulation and concentration, they have big teams, right? You already have a few hundred people on your team, right? And so when that momentum kicks in, your rank shoots up, your income skyrockets in that momentum phase. And so that's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is you have a higher duplication rate. More people who you get started go out and take action. Now, it's not like everyone is going to take action. You're still going to have people who say no. You're still going to have quitters. You're still going to have people who get hit by the rejection rocket, and all of those things still happen, but more people take action. So your enrollment ratio increases, your duplication ratio increases. And so what you start to see happen, and we've seen it, some of you who are listening to me right now, you've seen it where people hit the top rank in the company and 8 or 9 months. You have people who get to the point where, they have 100 people on their team in 30 to 60 days. It's just crazy. It isn't something we've necessarily seen yet, right? Why? Because we're not in that momentum phase where you have that overwhelming proof. But that's what starts to happen. Here's the other thing that is an interesting phenomenon, is the people who normally They don't have a super high level of skill. They don't have a super high level of personal development, right? They end up having way more success. And so you start to develop a problem. And I'll tell you, the problem in momentum is you have a bunch of people who haven't really developed themselves as leaders making a lot of money. And so part of my responsibility in that phase and the other leaders in the company is to really focus on leadership development, because if you have, there's a level of leadership and then there's a level of income. And if the level of income gets beyond the level of leadership, what happens? They start to sabotage themselves, right? They start to sabotage the people on their group. And so the income goes down if the level of leadership doesn't rise to catch the level of income. And so this is where it becomes super important to really focus on our leadership development systems. And so that is our trainings. That is what we're doing right now. That's doing calls. We did Thursday, we did a bronze and above only call. This Thursday, we're going to do a gold and above only leadership call, where I'm going to give you some higher level leadership. Efrosini is going to give you some higher level leadership training that we wouldn't talk about to everyone, things that we wouldn't talk about on this call, right? And so it's one of the reasons why you want to advance in rank, is because you want to be privy to the leadership development that's going on these calls, right? I remember I got fascinated with leadership, even though I didn't have a check that would make me a leader. I wanted to learn leadership, so when I got there, I'd be prepared, right? And so that's momentum. And then you go into stability, where there's nothing else to prove, right? Belief continues, but the exponential growth rate is not what it was in momentum. It's where you go on, in Dallas. I've been part of this in Dallas, a couple times in Dallas, where, throughout momentum phase, everywhere I'd go, people would be like, "Hey, are you Matt Morris? I went to a presentation," or "I saw a video of you." And the leaders are like well known in your city. It's what's going to happen in your city. You'll become well known in your city. You'll be at the grocery store and people will be like, "Are you Helen Mandashona? Are you Nisa?" Right? Why? Because so many people know about us. And so the growth rate slows down a little bit, because there's never a thing called saturation, but people start to think, "Oh, I missed the boat on it." And so you still grow, but you don't grow at the same rate. And so these are the things that are going to happen. Like, I've been through it, and why I'm excited about where we're headed is helping a lot of you go through these phases, right? And what I want to go through is like, what's going to, chances are, you want to have as big of a team as possible when we get into momentum. So how do you do that? Well, here's what I thought for years. The mistake that I made for years is I focused on the wrong things. I focused on all the tactical skills. I was so hungry for tactical skills. I wanted to know how to close better. I wanted to know magical scripts. I wanted to know magical prospecting things. I wanted to know, like, all these things that I thought the top leaders, I thought they had some kind of secret that they weren't sharing with me. Any of you feel that way? Like, in the chat, let me know in the chat. You ever feel like, man, there's something the leaders know that they're not telling me? That's kind of what I felt, right? Is like, I know there's some kind of secret that they're not sharing. And there's no secret. Like, like, why wouldn't we tell you? The more money you make, the more money I make, right? I would tell you if there was some kind of crazy secret, I'd tell you. I do tell you what I believe the real secrets are. So the mistake I made is believing the secrets were tactical skills, right? The reality is something very different. It's really getting super clear on how to win in life. Like, what is the number one key to winning? This is something I learned from a guy named Art Williams. Art built the largest term life insurance company in the world, with a network marketing model, right? And so I studied him. The company was called A.L. Williams. It's now called Primerica. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a $1 billion network marketing company. They sell insurance, right? Financial services. And this is what I learned from him. The number one key to winning, and this is what he really focused on over and over and over, was educating people on the real secret. So this is what I prefer to do. I want to give you the real secret. So once you know the key to winning in life, you can pursue it. How many of you want to know the number one key to winning in life? Okay. So this is the number one key. So we complicate it, but really the key is this. It's desire. The person who wants to win the most is the one who wins, right? Regardless of tactical skills, regardless of speaking ability, regardless of your background, regardless of whether you failed or not, it's desire. It is the person who wants to win the most who wins every single time. And so you might be saying to yourself, well, I'm just not that kind of person who is like crazy motivated. And I'm going to tell you something that I want you to remember. I want you to write it down. Is motivation, desire, is your responsibility to cultivate, right? It's not like I don't believe that God said, oh, Jimmy is going to be super motivated, but Sally's not, right? So motivation and desire has to be something you pull out from yourself. These are the things that I've learned over the years because I kind of felt the same way. I'd see some people who it seemed like they just had this raging desire to win. And while I was competitive, I wanted to win. I felt like, well, maybe I don't have that same level inside me. Well, desire is a discipline. Write this down. Desire is a discipline. You've got to be disciplined in pulling out your own desire, right? And you can't take it by like, oh, it's just what I was born with. One of the biggest ways that people sabotage themselves when it comes to success is they play victim to what they feel like God gave them. Oh, well, God didn't give me charisma. God didn't give me this. God didn't give me that. It's bullshit, right? We got to be disciplined with our own desire. We got to be disciplined with our motivation. We got to be disciplined with faith. We got to be disciplined with belief. We got to be disciplined with who we are, right? I take responsibility for who I am. I played victim for years. The reason why I'm not successful, this is what I told myself. The reason why I'm not successful is I'm so young. And that's why. No, that wasn't why I wasn't succeeding. The reason why I'm not succeeding is because, I don't come from a wealthy family. You make up all these things as excuses to play victim, right? And why do we play victim? We play victim because it's easier to blame something that was just bestowed on us than actually turning ourselves into a powerful person, right? So desire is the number one key to winning. Make sure you write that down. Desire is the number one key to winning. And so how do we become disciplined with harnessing that desire? Well, dreams are the fuel that ignite desire. Dreams are the fuel that ignite desire, right? So Tony Robbins, he said, there's no such thing as unmotivated people. There's only people with impotent dreams. So if you're not very motivated, chances are you have kind of an impotent dream. So how do we fix that? Well, we stoke the dream machine, right? We start thinking about the things that we want, okay? Who was it? John Maxwell. He's a little more elegant in the way he said it. He said, people who want a lot, do a lot. People who don't want a lot, they just don't do a lot. Okay. And so dreams are the fuel that fire desire, that ignite desire. And so here's the question that you want to be asking yourself and focusing on a lot is, what do you want? What do you want out of life? It's a question that most of us don't really think about. And see, what I learned from the first personal development book I ever read, Think and Grow Rich, it was that we become what we think about most of the time. We achieve what we think about most of the time. And if you're not thinking about big goals and big dreams, you don't have it. Why? Because you become what you think about most of the time. You have what you think about most of the time. And so if you're always thinking about scarcity and lack and what you don't have and how crappy your life is and how you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth or whatever bullshit it is that we do to play victim, if that's what you're focused on, that's what you'll get more of. If that's what you're focused on, that's what you'll get more of. So what I had to do was I had to change my focus. I had to stop focusing on and complaining to myself about how I'm so young. I don't have any credibility. No one will take me seriously because I drive a beat up car. If I just had an S-Class Mercedes, If I just had a Rolex, then everyone would listen to me. So funny. When I finally turned it on, like made money, ended up buying a Ferrari, and it's so funny. I swear my enrollment ratio went down when I had a Ferrari because the people I'm presenting to, they thought, well, yeah, surely he's going to have success because he has a Ferrari, right? So you think, oh, if I just had a Rolex, my enrollment ratio would be higher. No, it's not going to be any higher. Right. What I had to learn to do was talk about all the people I help versus the people like, my own success. Right. And so get really clear on what you want and what do you want in different areas of your life. From a travel standpoint, what do you want to see in the chat? I want you to write down, like, what are your biggest bucket list places that you want to see? Write it in the chat, right? And as you write in the chat, other people see it and it helps to stoke their desire. It helps to ignite their desire as well, because it's like, oh yeah. So here's what I did. At 24 years old, I created my first real bucket list. I had written down like goals of things I wanted to have before, but it was like I write it down and I forget about it. And at 24, this is when everything came together for me. I wrote down a dream list and I started looking at it every day. I created a vision board and I posted it on the wall of things that I wanted. I started focusing on it obsessively. I created little goal cards and I would put the goal cards all over the place in my car, in my bathroom mirror, on the toilet, the wall across from the toilet, above my bed, on the microwave, on the refrigerator. I mean, everywhere. I started posting my income goals. But when I became obsessive about what I wanted, I started getting what I wanted. Why? Because it was what I was focused on. And if we go back to what I said earlier, right? We become what we think about. We have what we think about. And if you're not thinking about your dreams become impotent. They become weak. So today is about turning on your dream machine. Why are we turning on your dream machine? Because dreams are the fuel that ignite desire. And desire is the number one key to winning. And we have to be disciplined in bringing out our own desire. We can't leave it to chance. We can't leave it to like, oh, God made me motivated or didn't. No, bullshit. You got to be disciplined, right? So where do you want to go? Cuba. I've always wanted to go to Cuba. I've never been. Americans have to go through weird shenanigans to get there. Dubai, amazing place. Miami, Iceland, one of the best vacations I've ever had. I did 7 days. I did some meetings in Iceland, and then I went and saw waterfalls and the Blue Lagoon and geysers. And I mean, it was one of the most epic experiences of my entire life. I remember coming home thinking, man, if I died tomorrow, I will feel like I lived. Do you feel like that? Like, do you feel like if God took you tonight, you'd be satisfied with the level of adventure that you've had in your life? I mean, it's one of those things where I still want to do so much more, but if God took me tomorrow, tonight, if I didn't wake up tomorrow, man, I'm so happy with how I've lived because I've been to 84 countries. I've experienced so much adventures, right? Mauritius, Egypt. Egypt was one of my like epic experiences. Cruising down the Nile River, you feel like you've gone back in time 2,000 years. Seeing the Great Pyramids, Greece and the Greek Isles, Bora Bora. Oh my gosh, I stayed in an overwater bungalow. We had a black-tip shark swim underneath us because there's a part in the overwater bungalows that's just glass and you can see all the fish and everything, and there's like sharks swimming underneath you, and then you have scuba gear or snorkeling gear in the hut, and so you just jump out and go snorkeling. Crazy experience. It was so cool. The Bahamas, we just took the kids to the Bahamas like a year ago. I mean, some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. If you go to Exuma as an example, there's a beach called Coco Plum Beach, and you just feel like you don't see palm trees. It's a different type of tree, but you have a sandbar that goes out like a mile. It's insane. It is like white sand beach, crystal clear. You're just like, oh my God, there's this huge mansion on the cliff at Coco Plum Beach that you'll see when you go. In Exuma, you can swim with the pigs. So they have these pigs that live on an island, so you can swim with the pigs and feed them. I mean, it's such a cool experience. You take a boat ride. There's all these little private islands that celebrities own all across the Bahamas, and you can pull up and go explore so many of these different islands. Like the Bahamas is a magical place. right? You can, as you're boating, you see these big giant starfish, massive starfish. I mean, it's so cool. Sri Lanka, I've never been. I've always wanted to go. Hawaii, the road to Hana. Is an experience you need to have in your life. There's like 300 hairpin turns as you're going through the road to Hana. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Barbados is an epic experience. I did a tour across Barbados, and there's these huge, giant rock formations, and the waves come and they crash and they crash and they crash, and over millions of years, they look almost like they look like a big mushroom, right? And you can go climb up in them. Barbados is such a cool experience. Bali, you need to do the cruise, the rafting. You don't think about Bali for rafting. You think about beautiful beaches, and they have beautiful beaches. But my peak experience in Bali was rafting down the river. You're like going through the mountains. You have these big, huge, cliffs on each side. It's so cool. Like Jamaica, such an amazing experience. Barcelona, Paris, Maldives. Maldives is like Bora Bora. Go there with someone that you really love because there's not a lot to do in Maldives, but it is one of the most beautiful places in the world. Santorini is the most romantic place in the world. Oh my God, it's like the best sunset you've ever seen. See all seven wonders. I've seen 5 out of 7 or 6 out of 7. So still have one or two to go. Switzerland, stayed in the Dolder Grand. Write that down, Dolder Grand. Put that on your bucket list. So the Dolder Grand is an epic, epic hotel. Like on a mountain, you look out, it's freaking incredible. Cruising the Mediterranean, that was one of my peak experiences, being able to cruise past, what's it called? The island of Capri. Visit the island of Capri. It's freaking incredible. I cruised past it on a big cruise ship, and then I saw these freaking mountains on a cliff and yachts, massive yachts and all this. And I was like, what the hell is that island? Oh my God. And then we got to port and I had an excursion going there that day. I've been there a couple times now, right? There's so many, like I could just go on and on and on and on, right? So look at all these places. Austria, um, write this down, add this to your bucket list. Hallstatt, Hallstatt. It is a fairy tale. Go there in the summer and go there in the winter. I've been there in both. When you go in the winter in the sun, you feel like you're in a snow globe. Like you're in a snow globe. It's so freaking cool in the summer. Um, it's just amazing. You can rent these little boats and you go around. It is like one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Austria, they just have mountains everywhere. You drive through Austria, is so freaking beautiful. That's where a lot of people go to paraglide. So you'll see hundreds of people paragliding all over. Even in Hallstatt, you see these big cliffs. It's like a big lake, and there's mountains all around the lake, and you see people paragliding off one of the mountains. There's Machu Picchu. I took my mom there for her 60th birthday. We spent 9 days traveling across Peru. We did mountain climbing and whitewater rafting. And I mean, it is, this is, it is worth, I think about all the craziness that I've been through, all the rejection, all the people who've quit on me, having to break out of my comfort zone. These experiences were worth it. St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome, you go through and you like, how did they create all this? I mean, St. Peter's is, it's freaking incredible. Morocco, Marrakesh, Morocco, stayed in a palace, converted palace in Marrakesh. You eat on the streets. There's the belly dancing shows at the I mean, just on and on and on, right? I could go all day. I'm seeing, like, I want to talk to you about so many other places, but you get the idea, right? So think about those, like, get them on a list and look at the list on a regular basis. Now, from a business standpoint, what do you want to accomplish, right? Write it down. Maybe you want to quit your job. Maybe you do something that doesn't fill your soul. You want to achieve diamond or black diamond, become a millionaire, become a speaker, train at major events. What are the things that you want out of business, right? Maybe you want to create generational wealth for your family. Maybe you want to be the first millionaire in your family. Maybe you want to write a book. One of my I wrote this down on my first bucket list. I wrote this down. I said, I want to have close personal friendships in every continent in the world. And today I have that, except for Antarctica, you know. So I'll give myself some grace. There's only 150 people. There's no people who really live there. There's 150 scientists that live there, right? Close personal friends on every continent. I can go to every continent now and call someone up and be like, "Hey, could I stay at your house?" Right? How cool is that? So what do you want to accomplish? Write it down in the chat. Write it down. Okay. And this is your homework today is like, what is creating that dream list, creating that bucket list and looking at it regularly. Start following Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts that have like dream cars or dream houses or whatever it is you dream about. Find ways where it will stay in front of you. Okay. Alfred, I like it. I like it. Let me see. So what are the things that you want to give, right? Who do you want to make an impact on? Maybe you want to buy your parents or your kids at home or a car. Maybe you want to fund an orphanage, go on mission trips. I think of some of the volunteerism trips that I've been on have changed my life. Given me such a crazy perspective on how blessed I really am. Maybe you want to create generational giving. So when you're gone, you create enough wealth that continues to grow after you're gone, where not only do you have generational wealth, but generational giving. That's one of my big goals. Maybe you want to go on a volunteerism trip, whatever it is, right? And so what are the things you want to have? There's nothing wrong with wanting to have things. Maybe you have a dream home on an ocean, a lake, a river, a dream home in the mountains, your dream car, a closet full of designer clothes. Like I used to want a lot of things. Once I had the money and I bought a bunch of the things, I realized, all right, I don't really want these things anymore. It was okay for me to want them. Today, I don't have any desire to have Louis Vuitton and all that kind of stuff. Like I've had a bunch of Louis Vuitton shoes and Gucci shoes. And then what I realized is they're way, way more uncomfortable than other types of shoes. So I don't need them anymore, right? So, but find out for yourself. Find out for yourself. Maybe you want all the designer stuff. Make enough money to go get them so you realize they're not really that important. Okay. Maybe you want to fly in private jets. I flew in a private jet one time. Cool experience. I still to this day, I want a yacht. I want a 150-foot yacht with a helicopter landing pad so that we can all hang out together, right? So I can have diamond retreats on my own yacht. Okay. So these are the things I still dream about today. Maybe you want to own your own private island. That's a goal of mine. I stayed, I had a speaking engagement, got offered to speak at a private island off the coast of Belize. It was called Ray Key Island. You can look it up, Ray Key Island. And just small little island, maybe 20 rooms, little cottages. Super cool. Like you just go out and fishing. There's sharks swimming all around that you can go snorkel with. Like, so cool. You could snorkel. We snorkel around the whole island. Whatever it is. Okay. So what else? Buy properties in Dubai, fly in a private jet, dream home, closet full of designer shoes. There you go. Maybe like one of my goals used to be to have a 2-story closet. Right. Not even for me, but for my girl. Right. So what is it you really want? See, here's the house I want. Right, this is on Lake Travis. It's here in Texas. It's $13 million. It became available for sale a few years ago. I didn't have the money to buy it at the time, but I still have it, and I look at it all the time. Look at that house. I mean, look at the view. As you look out, you see the Lake Travis there. Look at this. I'm telling you, the best view in Texas, probably the best sunset view I've ever seen in America is from this house, because there's a restaurant way off to the side here. The sun sets right over here, and it is just the most majestic sunset you can imagine. And so I want to live in this house. I used to boat all around here when I was young. I had a boat on this lake, and so this is the place where I used to always boat, because I'd always look up at this house. Okay. Look at that sucker. I mean, multi-level. There's a multi-level for you. Okay. This is, coffee in the morning. Right. What do you want to do? Maybe you want to go paragliding in the Andes Mountains, learn how to surf. Start typing things in the chat. Type it in the chat. right? What do you want to do? Cage diving with the great whites. That was a cool experience. Maybe you want to go deep sea fishing and, catch big fish, dirt bike across the Baja Peninsula. That's one that I still have. Climb Mount Kilimanjaro, something I did with a bunch of friends of mine, right? One of the most epic experiences of my life. I learned as much on that trip than I have from any book or any seminar that I ever went to. Skiing in the Swiss Alps. I'm with you. I want to do that too. See the Northern Lights. I've been up a couple times. I haven't been able to see it. Went way, way up north in Sweden, but it was overcast, so we couldn't see it. Learn to ski. You should. It is amazing. Devil's Pool, Helen. Absolutely. Learn how to kite surf. I sort of learned how to kite surf. It's always been a dream of mine. I took lessons twice. Finally kite surfed. I had an epic fall. Helicopter skiing, where they take you on a helicopter. They drop you off on the top of a mountain. There's no lift going up, so the helicopter is your lift. They drop you off at the top, and then you ski down in just pure powder, right? European river cruises. Where else do you want to go? Swimming with the dolphins. Okay. Skydiving in a hot air balloon. I think about the hot air balloon I did in Nairobi a couple different times in the Masai Mara. And, you do a hot air balloon and you're seeing all the elephants and the zebras and everything below you. I mean, so freaking epic. Cage diving with the great whites. That is such a cool experience. You have this animal that looks like a freaking dinosaur, eye to eye with it. Amazing. Okay, so create your bucket list. This is what I want you to do. Why do I want you to create your bucket list? Because I know that the number one key to winning is desire, and dreams are the fuel that ignite desire. And if you don't have a big dream, you're going to have less desire, right? So create your bucket list. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to have? What do you want to give? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Right? So this is one. Who do you want to be? Take a screenshot of this, and we don't have time to go through this now, but these are the things that I want you guys to focus on, right? Create that list. Keep the list in front of you all the time. All right, everyone take a screenshot. 3, 2, 1. So this is how I created mine, okay? And then get clear on why you must succeed. Okay, so here's the thing. It's digging a little deeper, right? All those things, when you create your bucket list, all of those things are going to increase your desire. It increases your motivation. And why do we do that? It helps you overcome your fear. It helps you overcome procrastination. It helps you overcome your own self-limiting beliefs. It helps you keep going when people quit on you, and people will, right? This is the nature of our business. See, if it were easy, the company wouldn't pay. Like Viago pays 50% of the revenues they bring in, membership revenues they bring in, they pay back out to us. If this were an easy business, there would be no opportunity. They wouldn't have to pay out 50%. They could pay out 5% if this were easy. So everyone's always like, oh, I wish it wasn't so hard. No, I'm glad it's hard, because it's hard, that's why there's an opportunity. The difficulty is what creates the opportunity. So we got to rewire our thinking. Okay, stop wishing it were easier and wish you were better, right? Because if it were easier, there would be no opportunity, right? Getting a job as a cashier in a grocery store, that is pretty easy. You scan things all day, you scan people, right? You scan items. You don't have to break through your comfort zone. You don't have to learn new skills other than like how the computer works, right? You can work in a retail store. You don't have to break through your comfort zone. Like, it's easy, and there's no opportunity. With most jobs out there, they're kind of easy. You don't have to break through self-limiting beliefs. You don't have to get out of your comfort zone. You don't have to go through rejection, but there's also no opportunity. So be grateful for the challenge, because if it weren't for the challenge, there would be no opportunity. Okay. So now, why must you succeed? What is the thing that is like, I have to win? Winning isn't just an option, it's a must. Why is it a must? Well, here's mine. Very simple. It's been my kids from before I had kids. I wanted to be the father that my father wasn't for me. I wanted to be the most exotic vacation I went on as a kid growing up was San Diego. We took a flight, which was so cool. I think I was like 12 years old, 13 years old. We took a flight. Now I had flown from like Lubbock to Dallas before, um, but I had never done like Dallas to San Diego. It was like a 3 hour flight. It was so cool, right? We go to San Diego. Like that's the most exotic vacation I ever had. Right. And I just decided, when I have kids, I'm going to take them all around the world. My kids have passports from so many different countries. Like a lot of the things that I was telling you guys about, I did with my kids. Right. So I wanted to be a hero to my kids. And so here's the whole thing. When you get really clear on why you must succeed, then you get really clear on being able to get over the things that hold you back, right? The rejection, the procrastination, you know, you're able to get over those things when you get really clear on why success is a must. My beautiful wife, right? I want to be a hero to her, right? I want to be a hero for my wife. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the case. I think most men are just resigned to be there, right? I'm a good partner, maybe not a great provider, maybe not a hero, but I'm a good guy, right? Yeah, be a good guy and a hero. Be a good guy and a great provider. Be a good guy and give help your wife accomplish her dreams. Okay, if you're a woman, do that for your man, do that for yourself, right? But why must you succeed? And so that's why I'm really clear. I must win. Success for me isn't optional because it's just what I believe is who I am. Now, it's not who I was necessarily born to be. I created it. So we all create it for ourselves. We have to take responsibility for creating the person who will always achieve success. I'll never fail. I mean, I may fail in certain things, but I'm always going to win. Why? Because I've decided and I've programmed myself to know I'm never going to lose. I'm always going to win long term. I'm always going to be a success. I'm always going to break through my self-limiting beliefs. And they keep coming up. Like, it's not like you become this ultimate powerful person who's perfect. I'm by no means. I still have self-limiting beliefs pop in. I still have self-sabotaging beliefs that pop in. But I've understood all this stuff. Like, I learn all this stuff, so I don't let it control me. Most people let their self-sabotaging beliefs control them. Why? Because they're not around this environment. So get very clear on why you must win. And when you get very clear on why you must win, you will. And then finally, goal setting is just getting really clear. Like, what is the level you're not going to stop pushing until you hit that level? You're not going to stop pushing. For me, it's black diamond. Okay. When I hit black diamond, I'll pull back the throttle, maybe. Chances are, because I love this, I'll keep pushing. But I've just said, like, that's the minimum goal is black diamond, right? I don't know what it is for you. That's $1 million a year in residual income, not counting the weekly binary, not counting the matching bonuses or sapphire bonuses or anything else. Okay, so what's that level for you? Diamond, blue diamond. What is it that just gives you freedom? Gives you unlimited freedom. See, I love that. I want to be a hero for my hubby. That's awesome. Okay. So get really clear. What is that level? I'm not going to quit until I achieve that level. Right. And then you want to take a screen shot of this. So number one, you want to write down your goal. You want it to be specific. Like, I'm going to achieve this rank. Right? It's measurable because you can hit that rank. Achievable. And you may not believe, listen, you may not believe black diamond is achievable for you. If you can't get to the point where black diamond is achievable for you, that's not a bad thing. So what you do is you go back to something that is achievable. And if you've never had success in network marketing, when it comes to goal setting, you don't have to set a goal to be diamond right now. Now, this is your long-term goal. Like, I'm not going to stop until I hit blue diamond, right? That may be like, that's your freedom number. Your freedom number is more in residual income than your bills. You can quit your job. You can live full time. You can vacation. You can own your life. Okay. So that's the ultimate goal. But what's your goal for now, for over the next 90 days or so? Okay. Over the next 90 days, what is your goal? 30 days. What is your goal? Maybe it's bronze. Maybe you've never built a team before. A great goal is saying, all right, I'm going to hit bronze in the next, 60 days, right? Because that's what I really believe is achievable. And then what happens is you push and you push and you push, and it's harder. It'll be harder than you think it will be. And you hit bronze. And once you've achieved bronze, then you can see silver. And you push and you push and you push and you push, and maybe it'll be harder than you think it is. And then you hit silver. You got 20 members on your team, 10 left, 10 right. Now you can see gold. Sometimes you can't see, the biggest peak that's in front of you until you get to the top of the peak that's right in front of you, right? There's a peak way off in the distance. You can't even see the top. Why? Because you got a mini mountain in front of you. Climb the mountain that's in front of you. Climb the mountain of bronze. Climb the mountain of silver. Climb the mountain of gold. And just understand when you get to whatever the next rank is, you'll be able to see and believe the next one. Why? Because you did what it took. Okay? So getting back to this, take a screenshot of this. So your goal is got to be relevant for you, a time frame like, all right, I'm going to hit bronze in 30 days. I'm going to hit silver in 60 days. Okay? And then what's the purpose behind your goal? Why must you achieve bronze? Why must you achieve silver? Why must you achieve gold? Right? What are those reasons? All the things that we talked about earlier is because I must provide this for my husband or wife, my children, my parents, whatever it is. What is that thing that says to you, you must succeed? And then finally, what's the action plan? What are you going to do? And then what are you going to give up? Okay, this is what I read in Think and Grow Rich is everyone who achieved great success, they sacrifice something. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give up? Maybe you're going to have to give up some television time. Maybe you have to give up some time on social media. Maybe you have to give up your ego because you're afraid of what people will think about you. You may have to give up your ego. Right? You may have to focus more on character than reputation. Most people focus on their reputation. Reputation is what other people think about you. Character is who you are. Focus on your character more than your reputation, and success will start finding you. So what are you going to do? And I'll tell you, when I got started in Viago, it was very clear. The thing that I'm going to do is get 2 no's a day. I'm going to get rejected twice a day. I'm going to have 2 people see a presentation every day and tell me no. And I made the no my goal. Why? Because even after 30 years, I don't like getting rejected. It's still kind of like, oh my gosh, they told me no. So rather than feeling negative about people telling me no, I said, you know what I'm going to do is my goal is going to be 2 no's a day. 2 no's a day, 2 no's a day, 2 no's a day, right? And guess what happened? I'd get 2 no's, I'd get a yes. I get 2 or 3 no's, I get a yes. I get 2 or 3 or 4 no's, I get a yes, right? I got a bunch of people to say yes. Why? Because I just focused on going and getting no's. This is the key. Whoever gets rejected the most over the next 90 days is the person who's going to advance in rank the most over the next 90 days. Rejection is the key. Stop trying to avoid rejection and go after rejection. Focus on rejection, right? And listen, my friends, we've got a presentation. Harriet is going to rock it out here in about 9 minutes. So I'm going to finish off. I want to say this. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Take what I did, do the homework, create your bucket list, and let's close this meeting out and let's start the presentation here in a few minutes. Harriet, love you. I know you will rock it out. I am so excited seeing all the names. And last thing I want to say, we've got 122 people on here. I am excited about doing life with you guys. And so thank you for being with me. I'm going to hop off and we will turn it over to Imola, it looks like you are the host. I think you're going to have to end this and then we'll start the new one. All right.